Welcome back to the WholeHearted Living podcast. I'm Deb Thorpe, and today we're diving into something that might make you a little uncomfortable. And honestly, that's a good sign, because what we're talking about today is the very foundation of transformation, the absolute bedrock of wholehearted living. We're talking about radical honesty. Now, before you think, oh, I'm already honest, I don't lie to anybody, I want you to know that's not quite what we're talking about here. Radical honesty isn't about how you show up with others, though that's part of it. Radical honesty is about how you show up with yourself. It's about the truths you've been avoiding, the things you pretend not to know, the realities you've been dancing around for months, years, maybe decades. It's about looking at your life, really looking, and admitting what's actually true, even when that truth is uncomfortable, inconvenient, or terrifying. Because here's what I've learned in over 20 years of working with people, and from my own journey through burnout and transformation. You cannot build an authentic life on a foundation of lies. And for most of us, we're lying to ourselves far more than we realise. So today we're going to explore why we lie to ourselves in the first place, what it costs us when we do, how to practice radical honesty with compassion, and why this is the essential first step of the WholeHearted Technique. This might get uncomfortable, but I promise you, on the other side of this discomfort is freedom. Let's begin. So, why do we lie to ourselves? Well, let me start by saying this. If you're lying to yourself, you're not bad or broken, you're human. And more than that, you're doing exactly what you were taught to do to survive. Self-deception is a survival mechanism. It's how we cope with realities that feel too big, too painful, or too threatening to face. Think about it. As children, we learned very quickly what truths were acceptable and what truths were dangerous. Maybe you learned, don't talk about what happens at home. We don't cry in this family. You're fine, stop being dramatic. Big girls, boys, don't get scared. Don't cry. We don't talk about those things. Maybe you learned to bury the truth, to minimise it, to pretend everything was fine when it wasn't. And that skill, that ability to disconnect from reality, it kept you safe. It helped you survive environments where the truth wasn't welcome. But here's the problem. What kept you safe as a child keeps you stuck as an adult. So, what do these lies look like in adult life? Let me share with you some of the most common ones I hear. And I've told myself most of these at various points as well. Let's be honest. About relationships. It's not that bad. They'll change. I'm probably just being too sensitive. Everyone's relationships have problems like this. I can't leave because insert reason that's really fear. About work. I'm lucky to have this job. I'll get better after this project promotion busy season. I just need to work harder. Everyone hates their job. That's just life. I can't afford to make a change. About ourselves. I'm fine. I don't really need help. I can handle it. I'm not traumatized. Other people had it far worse than me. I'm just tired. I'll feel better after a holiday. This is just who I am. About our bodies. I'll rest when this is over. I haven't got time to be sick. It's probably just nothing. I'm just getting older. This pain is normal. Any of these sound familiar? These lies feel protective. They feel like they're helping us cope, helping us keep going, helping us avoid difficult choices or painful feelings. But they're not protecting us, they're imprisoning us. So why do we keep doing it? Why do we keep lying to ourselves even when on some level we know the truth? Fear. We're afraid of what the truth will require of us. Because here's the thing about truth. Truth demands action. If you admit your relationship is making you miserable, you might have to leave or have a difficult conversation. If you admit your job is destroying your health, you might have to quit. If you admit you're burned out, you might have to stop. If you admit you're traumatized, you might have to feel it. If you admit you're not happy, you might have to change everything. And change is terrifying. The unknown is terrifying. So we stay in the lie, we stay in the familiar, the misery, because at least we know how to survive there. But here's what we don't realise. The lie is costing us far more than the truth ever could. Let's talk about what happens when you build your life on lies, even the really well-intentioned ones. First off, you lose yourself. When you're constantly pretending, performing, minimizing, and denying, you disconnect from your authentic self. You stop knowing what you actually feel, what you actually want, and what you actually need. You become a stranger to yourself. I see this all the time with my clients. They come to me and say, I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't know what I want. I experienced this in my own life, of being really frustrated with the platitudes and quotes that would just be like, just follow your heart, do what makes you happy. I didn't even know what made me happy. I didn't even know where to start on that journey. So here's what I say to clients. Of course you don't know. You've been lying to yourself for so long. You've lost the ability to hear your own truth. Secondly, you stay stuck. You can't solve a problem you won't acknowledge. You can't heal a wound you won't admit exists. You cannot leave a situation you keep pretending is fine. The lie keeps you frozen, stuck in patterns that don't serve you, repeating the same cycles over and over, wondering why nothing changes. Thirdly, your body keeps the score. This is a phrase from Bessel van der Kolk's groundbreaking work on trauma, and it's absolutely true. Your mind might be able to lie, but your body cannot. Even when you're living in denial, your body holds the truth. Chronic tension and pain, digestive issues, insomnia, anxiety and panic attacks, autoimmune conditions, burnout, depression. Your body is screaming the truth that your mind won't speak. Fourthly, you create shallow relationships. When you're not honest with yourself, you cannot be truly honest with others. Your relationships become performances. You show people the version of you think they want to see, not who you actually are. And then you feel lonely, even when you're surrounded by people, because no one actually knows you. How could they? You're not showing them the real you. Fifthly, you lose your power. Every time you lie to yourself, you give away your power. You become a victim of your circumstances instead of an active participant in your life. You say things like, I have no choice. I can't. I'm stuck. There's nothing I can do. But the truth is you do have choices. You're just not willing to see them yet because seeing them would require you to act. The lie keeps you small, keeps you safe, and keeps you stuck. And I know that might sound harsh, but I'm not saying it to shame you. I'm saying it because I've been there. I built an entire award-winning business lying to myself about how burnt out I was, and it nearly totally destroyed me. The cost of the lie was almost everything. Let's just define what radical honesty is and how it's different from just being honest. Radical honesty is the practice of telling yourself the truth, the whole truth, even when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, or scary. It's looking at your life without filters, without the justifications, without the yes but statements. It's asking yourself the hard questions and being willing to hear the real answers. It's naming what is actually happening, not what you wish was happening or what you think should be happening. Radical honesty is seeing reality as it is, not as you want it to be. Now, here's a crucial distinction. Radical honesty is not the same as brutal honesty. Brutal honesty is harsh, punishing, shaming. It sounds like you're pathetic for staying, you're weak, you should have known better, what's wrong with you? That's not truth-telling, that's self-abuse. Radical honesty is compassionate truth-telling. It acknowledges reality while holding space for your humanity. It sounds like, This relationship isn't working and I've known it for a while. I'm exhausted and I need help. I've been pretending I'm fine, but I'm not. I'm scared and that's okay. I deserve better than this. See the difference? Radical honesty doesn't shame you for where you are. It simply names it. And in naming it, there's the power. Here's what I want you to understand. The truth, even when it's painful, is always more liberating than the lie. When you finally admit what's true, when you stop pretending, stop minimizing, stop justifying, something shifts. There's a relief, a lightness. Even if the truth is hard, there's a sense of, oh, there it is. I can finally stop pretending. And from that place of truth, you can finally start to move. You can finally start to make real choices. You can finally start to change. The lie keeps you stuck. The truth sets you free. Before we dive into the practice of all of this, I want to say this really clearly. Radical honesty requires safety. If you're still in survival mode, if your nervous system is in fight, flight, or freeze, it's very difficult to access your truth. Your brain is focused on survival, not reflection. So first, ground yourself. Use the practices from the previous episode. Get into your body, feel your feet on the ground, take some deep breaths, create a sense of safety in this moment. You might even place your hands on your heart and say, I'm safe enough right now to tell myself the truth. Now, I'm going to give you some questions. These are the questions I use with my clients and the ones that I ask myself regularly. I invite you to sit with these, maybe journal with them, maybe just let them sit in your awareness. Don't rush to answer, just let the truth emerge. Question 1. What am I pretending not to know? This is the big one. This is the gateway question. Sit with it. What truth are you dancing around? What reality are you avoiding? It might be about a relationship that's not working, a job that's draining you, your health, your mental state, a pattern you keep repeating, and something you need but aren't asking for. What am I pretending not to know? Question 2. Where am I saying yes when I mean no? Where in your life are you agreeing to things that don't feel right? Where are you overriding your own boundaries, your own needs, your own truth, to keep the peace, to be liked, to be seen as capable? Where are you abandoning yourself? Question 3. What truth am I avoiding because I'm afraid of what it will require of me? This gets to the heart of why we lie. What truth are you avoiding? Because if you admitted it, you'd have to leave, change, set a boundary, ask for help, disappoint someone, face your fear, do something different, have a difficult conversation. What truth are you avoiding and what are you afraid it will cost you? Question 4. If I was being completely honest, what do I actually feel right now? Not what you think you should feel, not what you wish you felt, not what makes logical sense. How do you actually feel right now? Angry, sad, scared, resentful, exhausted, numb, trapped, lonely. Name it without judgment. Just name what's true. Question 5. What would I do if I truly believed I mattered? This question cuts through all the justifications and excuses. If you truly believed your needs mattered, your feelings mattered, your life mattered, what would you do differently? What would you stop tolerating? What would you start asking for? What would you change? Question 6. What does my body know that my mind won't admit? Your body is always telling you the truth. Where are you holding tension? Where does it hurt? What symptoms keep showing up? What is your body trying to tell you that your mind keeps dismissing? After you've sat with these questions, I want you to do something important. Don't immediately try to fix anything. Radical honesty is not about immediately solving the problem. It's about first acknowledging that the problem exists. You've been lying to yourself for years. Give yourself some time to simply sit with the truth before you decide what you want to do about it. The truth needs to be witnessed first, acknowledged, felt, and then when you're ready, you can start to take action. This is important because I think most of us avoid acknowledging the truth because we fear the action that it might lead us to change, and we can't imagine that action from where we're sitting here now, locked in that pattern and that survival. So I really, really want you to take this as the first stage that it is, and that is just being real and honest with yourself in this moment, with compassion, with non-judgment, no shame, with just a real loving honesty. Allow yourself that. It doesn't need to go anywhere else right now. It doesn't need to be expressed to anyone else if you don't want it to. It doesn't need to result in instant changes. All we're doing in this very first stage of this process is allowing ourselves a moment of honesty. Allowing ourselves to feel the relief that comes with, at the very least, we're no longer subscribing to the mask that we're currently wearing. We might continue to wear it for a bit, right? Until we decide how we're going to maneuver this. But that's not this moment. This moment is just about allowing ourselves a moment of radical honesty with loving compassion. So one of the most powerful practices I recommend for really honouring this truth is writing it down. Get a journal, a blank document, and write. The truth I've been avoiding is, and then just write or type or even speak. A stream of consciousness. No editing, no censoring, no trying to make it sound better. Just write the raw, honest truth. You don't show this to anyone, this is just for you. But getting it out of your head and onto paper makes it real, makes it undeniable. And there's something incredibly powerful about seeing your truth in black and white, or hearing it back to you if you're recording it. What happens after this? Here's what I want to prepare you for. When you finally tell yourself the truth, you might feel grief. Grief for the time you've lost. Grief for the version of yourself you've been pretending to be. Grief for the reality you wished was different. That grief is valid. Let yourself feel it. But alongside the grief, there's also relief. Relief that you don't have to pretend anymore. Relief that you can finally stop carrying the weight of the lie. Relief that you can finally start to move forward. Because here's the beautiful thing about radical honesty. Once you admit the truth, you create choice. When you're living in the lie, you're stuck. You're a victim of the circumstances you won't acknowledge. But when you name what's true, suddenly you have options. You can stay and work to change it. You can leave. You can ask for help. You can set boundaries. You can make different choices. The truth doesn't trap you. The truth liberates you. This is why radical honesty is stage 1 of the WholeHearted Technique. Because you cannot do any of the other work. You cannot heal from trauma, cultivate self-compassion, set boundaries, choose yourself, live authentically, if you're still lying about what's actually happening. You cannot build wholeness on a foundation of lies. The truth is the ground. Everything else grows from there. Let's bring this back to the earth element for a moment, because the earth has so much to teach us about truth. The earth doesn't pretend, it doesn't perform, it simply is. A mountain doesn't apologize for being a mountain. A river doesn't pretend that it's not flowing. The soil doesn't lie about what it's holding, both the nutrients and the decay, both the seeds and the bones. The earth holds it all, the beautiful and the difficult, the growth and the decomposition, the light and the dark. And that's what radical honesty asks of us. To hold the whole truth, not just the parts that are comfortable or convenient. When you practice radical honesty, you're creating the solid ground beneath your feet. Think about it. When you're lying to yourself, you're standing on unstable ground. You're building your life on sand, on shifting stories, on denial. But when you tell the truth, when you acknowledge what's real, you're standing on bedrock, on something solid that can actually hold you. Yes, the truth might be uncomfortable, but it's real. And real ground, even when it's rocky, is always more stable than imaginary ground. You cannot root in fiction. You can only root in truth. Before we close, I want to come back to something really important. Radical honesty is not about shaming yourself for the lies you've told. You lied to yourself because you needed to, because it felt like the only way to survive, because you weren't ready to face the truth yet, and that's okay. You did the best you could with what you had. But now you're ready, or at least you're ready to start. So as you practice radical honesty, please do it with compassion, with gentleness, with the understanding that you're human, and being human means sometimes we protect ourselves from truths we're not ready to face. And you don't have to excavate every lie you've ever told yourself all at once. Start small. Admit one truth you've been avoiding. Name one feeling you've been minimizing. Acknowledge one area where you've been pretending. That's enough. That's a beginning. That's an incredible start. Radical honesty is a practice, not a one-time event. It's something you return to again and again, peeling back the layers. Be patient with yourself. You're not alone. Please know you're not alone in this. Every single person I've ever worked with, every single person I know, including myself, has lied to themselves about so many important things. It's part of being human. It's part of being conditioned, of surviving in a world that doesn't always feel safe for truth. But we can choose differently now. We can choose truth. We can choose wholeness, and we can do it together. So here's what I invite you to do this week. Choose one question from today's episode. Pick the one that resonated most, or the one that made you feel most uncomfortable. That's usually the one you need. Sit with it. Journal with it. Let the truth emerge. And then complete this sentence, either in a journal or speak it into a voice recording. The truth I've been avoiding is. Write it out, speak it out, all of it. Don't censor, don't make it nice, just write, speak what's true. Now, this might sound strange, but there is power in speaking your truth out loud. So find a private space, your car, your bedroom, or walk in nature, and say out loud, the truth is, and then whatever you wrote or spoke out. Hear yourself say it. Let your body hear it. Let the universe hear it. And after you've acknowledged your truth, practice one of the grounding exercises from the previous episode. Feel your feet on the earth. Feel your body in this moment. Remind yourself, I am safe enough to know the truth. I am strong enough to hold the truth. The truth will not destroy me. It will set me free. As you practice radical honesty this week, you might feel relief, grief, anger, resentment, sadness, liberation, all of them. All of these feelings are valid and all of them are welcome. The truth brings up feelings. That's how you know it's real. Let yourself feel them. Don't rush to fix or change anything yet. Just be with what's true. Radical honesty is the foundation of everything we're going to build together in this series. In the upcoming episodes, we're going to explore how to understand and work with your trauma responses, how to cultivate self-compassion, how to set aligned boundaries, how to map your inner landscape, how to choose yourself, how to live authentically, and how to vision your future from wholeness. But all of that work, all of it rests on this foundation of truth. You cannot heal what you won't acknowledge. You cannot change what you won't name. You cannot become whole while living in fragments of truth. So this week, practice telling yourself the truth. Start small, be gentle, but start. Because on the other side of the lie is the life that you're meant to live. On the other side of the lie is freedom. On the other side of the lie is you, your true, whole, authentic self. And that self is worth fighting for. Let me leave you with this. The truth might be uncomfortable. It might be inconvenient. It might require you to change everything. But the truth is also the only solid ground you have. And you deserve to stand on solid ground. You deserve to live in truth. You deserve to be whole. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this work. Thank you for having the courage to look at your life honestly. And I'll see you next week, where we'll dive into understanding your trauma responses and how they show up in your daily life. Until then, be gentle with yourself. Tell yourself the truth, and remember, you were never broken. You're now simply remembering your way home. With love and so much compassion, I'll see you next week.